ahead and get started. My name is Callie Henderson. I'm the editor-in-chief of Channel Partners, and I would like to welcome you to the Channel Partners Zone. And some of you have been to this event before, so you know what's in store for you, and yet you've come back again. So for those of you that are new to this event, basically it's an unscripted, uncensored conversation, and you may be offended, probably will be offended, and we don't really care. So that's the whole point of this, is to really, get down in the weeds and discuss things that are important to you. And, if we get in a couple scrapes, better. We're going to start the discussion with a topic that these guys actually chose. We're going to talk about whether or not the cloud is really fact or fiction in the current channel. So who wants to start?
You had a good quote on the phone, Mike. You don't want to do it? I'll do it.
I'll do it. So, on the floor today, I spent a good amount of time, and yesterday, asking different cloud companies, what makes you different? And the amazing thing is, the words of the CEO of Tyson Chicken came to me, and it was, if we can differentiate a dead chicken, you can sell anything. The sad part is, the cloud providers out there can't differentiate themselves. Yeah, we do cloud. We do hosted VoIP, virtual server. And I'm like, really? This is what you do? So technically, I could take a box, put it in my garage, hook it to my kid modem, and I can be a cloud provider.
Why can't any of these companies that you were talking to differentiate themselves from each other? Right? Why can't they differentiate the dead chicken known as cloud in this scenario?
Because they can't sell.
No,
That's
market.
it.
No, they can't market.
Well, there's a difference, right?
But that's the point, is that they cannot differentiate themselves because we've killed all the margin and access. Because we've all done the race to zero when unfortunately it's been won. So what's our next thing? Oh, we'll sell cloud. It's this magical thing we can do.
Well, but I think that cloud is real. I mean, I sell cloud every single day. I sell cloud all the time. What's my version of cloud? Well, yes, it is. It's hosted IP. It's virtual desktop. It's co-location. It's, all of those things. I'm selling the cloud. I mean, I think it's real. Whatever they want to call it, whatever their little bells and whistles are, that's fine. I am selling it, and I'm getting.
Less than 3%.
Well, Karen, I want to break the bad news to you. You're the only one.
Hey, I'll take.
Then you'll take the entire market.
3%. I'll take 3% of the entire market any day of the week.
Well, look, the numbers bear out this way: is that more than 50% of the channel, inclusive IT and telephony, are making less than 10% of their gross income from cloud products. By 2020, the total addressable cloud market is going to be somewhere around $244 billion. By that point, the total global IT spend, now that's a global number, the total global IT spend by 2020 will be somewhere around $4 trillion. We are racing towards the bottom of something that doesn't exist. It is a component of an enabler of something else that's going to happen that has not even revealed itself yet. And I will even add into this. We keep using this other word attached to cloud. We call it transformation. Every time I hear somebody say transformation, I cringe because it implies a start and a finish. What we have really entered into is hyper change and constant change. And it is all going to be about the value. And you're absolutely right. It is about selling. It's about being able to affect an outcome and not about selling a product. And if we can start wrapping our heads around what value comes from outcomes, then we will win.
But that was the whole solution versus the transactional. I was having, but the whole discussion about the transactional versus the solution-oriented partner and selling, and that is where we're going. I mean, if you're not talking to your customers, especially in Florida, about disaster recovery, about
you can talk to them until you're blue in your face. I live here. Nobody here wants to buy DR because they don't think it's going to happen to them. My clients got hit by Katrina and they still don't want to buy DR because it costs too much.
Well, it's just like it's the same sales life insurance, right?
I don't sell.
Who's all heard this, okay? Well, Mrs. Jones, the wife always thinks it was too much, but the widow wishes it would have been more. It's the same sale, because you're right. People think it's going to happen to them. I agree with you. I do believe cloud is real, and I do believe it's a solution. But the problem is, we're in Orlando, right? The land of fantasy. Okay? And out there, Mr. Bisnoff at Tel Pacific told me a few years ago, the people that have the biggest, I'm calling you out here, Mr. Bisnoff, the people that have the biggest booth on the show, the sexiest one out there, and the coolest technology are the ones that are gone next year. Oh, again, like I said earlier, we've killed all the margin and access. So now go sell cloud. And in a year, what's cloud going to be? Commoditized. Because people don't market it, they don't sell it, they don't add value. Why in this business, something that costs trillions of dollars to make, billions of dollars to maintain, do people think it should be free?
No, wait, so define what that means. Define what add value means, because I will actually show you numbers that says that the entire channel is racing towards a wall. Even if you are saying that in the context of what we call adding value today, the entire channel is going to hit a wall because it is still steeped in its legacy. It will not break out on even thinking about the way it was doing business yesterday. It keeps carrying the legacy business forward. And what the customer wants their businesses to run better. They don't care what that means. They want somebody to be able to come in and do it. And increasingly, that is not a carrier or a transport conversation. It is not a hardware conversation. It is a business process. And business process is being translated in our context as applications. And I will tell you that 95% of the channel is not prepared to get into an application conversation in the way that it is going to be meaningful to the business.
I'm going to dovetail what you just said. Who kills it in applications? Apple.
No,
No.
absolutely not.
No, you buy an iPad, not for the iPad, you buy the iPad.
No, you're
you
talking. No, you're talking about experience, and then we're talking about something entirely different.
But it is about
No,
user experience.
no.
It is.
No.
But you're talking
We're
about business process. It's
the same thing.
Worker
All right,
experience.
Right.
All right, this is going to become UFC really quick.
Sweet.
So,
Here we go. Let's go, baby.
the difference between the difference between the user experience and what I'm talking about and the application process, or let's use another, some more big words. Let's talk about workflow automation.
Let's talk about that since like the 70s.
Let's talk about.
Is that when you automate your workflow?
No, I'm talking about the.
Let's talk about transformation.
Let's come back to that.
Business process re-engineering?
Not really, but the VARs haven't exactly solved that problem either.
No, of course they haven't.
And all
Nobody
of
has.
cloud, why does the
Look,
cloud
if-
really
if-
work? Integration.
Hey, you guys, those guys that are
And who's
selling
gonna do
voice
that?
are gonna be dead when data comes. They're gonna die.
You know
I had
what?
the same sub-agents for 20 years, but they're gonna die when we sell data.
You know,
Voice is just an application on the network.
Yeah?
What?
Well,
You know, one of the things I was listening to you guys, like every other one of you has it, right? And the other ones don't. And I think that's the way
So
that
is it the odd or the even?
the even ones have it. But I can see that, the fact that you don't have it is that we just haven't done a good job as vendors communicating it.
Who are you with?
Right? I'm a Star to Star.
Okay.
And we've got a very differentiated solution. It's completely different than any other solution. But we didn't communicate it because you guys came to our booth and didn't get it, right? So we did a good job. We didn't do a good job of explaining it to you.
Right.
But he's also right that if you don't come to understand it, there won't be anything left for you to sell. But that's our job.
Yes, there will.
You
think
know
internet's
what?
going away tomorrow?
There won't be anything left. No, what I mean, there won't be anything left for you to sell. I don't mean that things won't be sold. It's just that, but it's our job, right, to make our products understood so they can be sold. So we just haven't made it clear enough what it is that we have and why it's different. Now, the customers like Dollar General, Pizza Hut, they get it and they're buying it. But we're just not doing a good job of educating, training, and differentiating. Like you see that, this is different from that, and that's different from that. And if you can articulate that and explain it, you can be part of this picture going forward.
I think the average 8-year-old can articulate how an iPhone or an iPad works better than most carriers on the floor.
Right.
And sadly, that's the problem, is we're not connecting it with our customers correctly.
Yeah, and we're not connecting with you correctly, right? I mean,
Well, we're your customers.
right.
We're not differentiating. All we hear is, oh, hey, we brought out this 100 megs now for $1,000. It used to be $5,000. Go sell more.
What stops you from doing it correctly?
I think we're just not simplifying it enough so it can be understood. I mean, we're caught up in our complexity, and maybe we're used to working more on an IT side, more on a software side, more with people that are in a different world communicating to an IT people, and now we're trying to work with telecom folks that are making a transition, and we got to make a transition ourselves to be able to put it to people in a way that it can be understood and you know.
So to paraphrase Shakespeare, first thing we do is kill all the product managers.
That's right.
Honestly,
Yeah.
because from the C-suite down, what do all suppliers do? Suppliers, whether they're vendors or carriers or what have you, the C-suite will talk about solution selling because they want to engage in the consultative service, because in the big picture context, it really is about the holistic solution.
Yeah.
And then it gets down to the product manager that actually holds the budgets, and they are rewarded on unit sales. And they could care less about the solution so long as they move product. And until we break that, or until we break or redefine that reward cycle, then we're going to be stuck doing the same thing over and over.
But I think that nature is weeding those people out.
Oh,
I mean, the
absolutely
people,
not.
our most successful partners are the ones who do take that holistic approach. And they're not just looking at the telecom. They are looking at the entire customer and what their needs are. And they're looking at their equipment spend, and they're looking at what applications they're using. What do they need to enhance their experience? How can they make their community more efficient and effective? Not necessarily changing their spend. They can actually increase the spend. So it's not like they're talking about saving anybody money. I mean, they can go in and say, I'm going to cost you more, but I'm also going to give you 3 times as more of what you're getting. And so the transactionals, there's always going to be the onesie-twosies that are out there, but I'm surprised you still have that many partners that are 20 years, because I don't have any partners from 20 years ago. I don't have a one.
They own their customers, they solution sell, they keep going back in every month.
But those aren't the ones, none of my voice partners ever transitioned into, well,
We train
very
them.
few of them, but
And
they
then, like,
haven't
just
gone to the
Just
cloud
like you
yet.
were saying, and just like Star was saying, and I'm going to preach it to the rafters. I mean, cloud is just another product in my mind, but the key is education.
Yeah.
Then we have to educate the agents, and we also have to, in my opinion, as agents in an industry, we all have to agree on a nomenclature. Like, SIP was a protocol, and then we productized it, and we sold the protocol as a product. MPLS was a protocol, but we productized it, and we sold it as a product. You know, if we can sell CPU cycles, RAM and hard drive as virtual or physical server, blade or dial it up dynamically, and replace colo, well, yay, we get to sell more colo again. We just call it something else. You know, frame relay becomes MPLS, MPLS becomes Ethernet.
Telecom doesn't change, but you change the colors of flags.
And yay, we get to resell the same customers over and over again. It's not such a bad deal.
Yeah, but Karen, are you saying that we're really expensive, but we're good? Is
We're
a really
taking-
good marketing?
We're
slogan?
taking dollars that they're using on having a person and putting it towards an application that allows more people to do more, instead of having one person do one little job. I mean,
Also, you do
To
create
echo
this
that-
job on recovery.
it's all me. It's all me.
Look, actually, I want to
Damn Republicans.
is that let's face it, is that if we are selling cloud effectively, we are destroying jobs.
Yes.
Well, don't
Yeah,
worry, we're not
that's
selling
right.
it effectively, so we're not. Just relax, we're doing a fine job. You have a server, here, I'll move it into the cloud. We're just replacing one for one. You want CRM, what do you want? Here's 5.
But the thing is that we're having to educate a lot of people, including our own community. And I sat in a training a couple weeks ago on cloud, and it was a great training. I came out of it, I went to a dinner party that night, and I just told everybody about all the wonderful things I learned at this seminar. And I came back to my office and I was like, oh my God, it was so great. And one of the women in my office said, you know, the other 2 people in our office who went and listened to it, they didn't think it was so great. They actually thought it was kind of boring. And I was like, you know why they thought it was boring? Because they didn't get it. I have to educate my own team to understand why it was so wonderful what they were saying, why it was so important, why it's going to be what we're doing in 3 years, what we're doing next year, what we're doing next month. But within my own team, I'm realizing they still don't have enough of the education. So I've got to go back to my team and educate them better.
Well, the problem that even Star is seeing is everybody learns differently.
Right.
And they're all on different levels. So
Right.
we have to tell them a story 5 different times, the same story about the product. And they don't do that. They just keep screaming cloud at you.
And-
Go sell our cloud.
Exactly.
Until you want to get a gun and shoot them in the
Right.
head. Leave it alone.
But
So you got a
that's
piece
why
of-
we need to have that
Peter,
diverse
Let
training.
me
I
tell
agree.
you, let me tell you, one of the things that we do is, one of our clients built a simulator where we actually put partners into a cloud environment where they have to, over the course of a day, take a business from a managed
Is that what
manual.
we did with NASA out here?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, get on this, you know. But it's amazing to watch it, and when you're immersed into it, is essentially a game, a day-long game, where you are forced with little information to go from a manual managed state to an automated state. And the thing that amazes me is every time I put partners through the simulator, is that their eyes light up and they see the possibilities. The problem is that when you get to that full automation stage, they are lost because nowhere can they actually engage on that level. It's because the sophistication of the technology is beyond their reach. It goes beyond where they are today.
And
how do you explain
there
that?
was an agent, great agent, he's up to speed with data products and this and that and the other, and he's asking me, what about cloud? And I was telling him, you know, don't sell it to the IT managers, they're going to be threatened. And he's like, well, the customer's going to have a problem, they're not going to be able to touch it, feel it, see it. And I said, well, if I told my dad 25 years ago I went to the gas station and paid for gas without going inside with a credit card, I didn't sign it, I didn't get a receipt, and I drove home, my dad would freak out. And the training that Karen's talking about and the way that she has to relate it to her partners and to her staff is a simple analogy like that. You know, and we are selling non-tangible services, but we've been selling non-tangible services since Al Gore created the internet.
Right.
You sell the invisible.
It's in the worldview, too, of your buyer. Some buyers have to see blinky lights.
But there's,
Like I understand
but they're retiring.
No, no,
You
no.
know, I think that you guys are talking a lot about you guys are talking a lot about the word cloud, right? And every once in a while you mention the word telecom, and we're talking a lot about words here. But I want to object to the word telecom. That I think we should stop using it because it no longer exists.
I think it should stop
How
being
come you
cloud.
name it telecom quotes? I'm pretty sure it exists.
It's
Okay,
hosting, it's not cloud.
It's, I mean, telecom.
It's
Where's the word tel? Where does it really belong? I mean, if we want to just keep hanging on to a shrinking world, right? And then we hold on to the tel. But if we let go of the tel and go to the com part and say, wow, communications is texting, it's email,
Right.
it's video conferencing, it's webinar, it is still voice, it's all these things, right? So we're communications, not tel. Forget about tel. That's going. The PSTN's going to be ripped out of the ground. They're going to mine the copper and sell it off for something else. But we're not about tel. We're about com, and com is becoming more diverse. And we need to figure out how to unify and create great solutions for customers so they can have more productive businesses, which includes all those things. And if we hang on to that shrinking tel dollar instead of grab the growing com dollar, you know, we're gonna perish versus prosper. So I think the word telecom is the one we should be maybe dismissing at this point. Cloud, maybe it's being misused and used in too many different ways, but I think we've got to expand what we think we're in charge of so that the revenue that we can be in control of, and really ultimately I think what I hear a couple people saying up there is, let's solve the customer's problem. It's a communications problem, and it may have some voice in it, but it has all these other things, and we need to solve the whole problem. That's how we remain relevant to the future of our customer as consultants, as people that provide them the right answer.
Mr. Star to Star, I'm going to call you out on that.
Good.
I think you are absolutely 100% right on about the tel part. I come from the IT, so I'm on the blue circle part of the blue-green convergence thing, so I'm trying to learn. That's why I'm here. So I think you are 100% right. When I think telecom, I'm thinking MPLS, SIP trunks, all that kind of cheap commodity stuff. When you say communications and you talk about all those other things, man, the light goes on for me. However, stop calling yourself a vendor. When we say vendor, when we call people vendors, we lower the bar. A vendor is someone that fills your pop machine. I'm coming from the Midwest, so sorry. Fills your soda machine, right? There's no value there. You add value. You're a manufacturer, you're a software provider, you're a solution provider. I don't care who you are, but in this industry, we have got to stop referring to people as vendors.
Okay.
So I'll take tel out if you'll stop calling yourself
Okay,
a
that's a
vendor.
deal. We'll
All
shake
right.
on that one.
I have a question. What is the #1 complaint people have when they call a big company? Anybody?
Impersonal.
They can't talk to a human.
Right.
Oh, it's automated.
And we,
Exactly.
and we enable that. I hate robocallers, but everyone in the show floor enables that shit. So yeah.
It's all machine-to-machine communications.
So Larry, are you kind of afraid of the cloud?
No, absolutely not.
Well, okay,
I think,
so,
look, no, Dave, let me tell you something,
Yeah.
okay? I look at the cloud as another version of a floppy disk. And if you look at it's a component within a larger system, and I think that the larger system is still developing.
Yeah.
I think that the cloud is something that is making other things possible, but the other things are going to be far more important. What we talked about as trunk lines yesterday is the cloud today, and it's going to continue to commoditize. It's going to become a foundational level. It's going to have very little value. What's going to have the value is the things that rest on top of it. If you look at where the carriers are today, if you look at, Chris has gone from AT&T, but if you look at everything that AT&T, Verizon, Sprint are doing, they are not, everyone wants to point and say, well, Verizon bought Terramark. They can do hosting now. Well, it's not just that, but Verizon is investing huge amounts of money and resources on applications.
Right.
And they want and they understand this. They use the word accrete value. And what that means is that their entire system is based on line activation. What they are seeing is the line activation revenue is continuing to commoditize. The only way to bring the revenues back up and sustain that $120 billion is to put services based on applications. It's not going to be about the hosting. It's not going to be about the hardware. The devices are throwaway. I mean, Apple showed that yesterday.
But what do we do in the meantime? So right now, we have to sell something.
Oh, yeah,
and they
look.
want cloud.
No.
I'm with you.
Oh, no,
They're buying cloud.
But look,
I'm selling it.
you sell cloud today, you sell what you have today. You're also going to be selling everything on the IT side. We're selling the hell out of servers. We're selling the hell out of storage.
I can help you virtualize that. We
Yeah.
can put it in the cloud, I can show you a TCO on it. I'll get a residual and I'll get a renewal on your
No, but look, these are lines that are going to reach an inflection point.
Dude,
But you have to ride
you
one
might
down
not
to
need
pay
your
for the
line.
other one to come up.
I have a question.
Okay, but
So
I have a
real
question
quick,
about carriers in the room.
he keeps talking about the evolution. I'm with you. But in the meantime, this is what customers want.
Well, this is
All
what they
these
need.
whatever we're calling them,
yeah, but
what?
look at the carriers.
Not vendors now.
How bad
Solution
they are.
providers, all these solution providers.
But
No,
you're
wait a minute,
looking-
the
you're looking
carrier,
at
sorry.
But you're looking at the big carriers. What about the niche carriers? What about like the carriers like, in contact that is a platform and is a
That's content.
solution?
Yeah,
Right.
but Karen,
But they're a carrier.
What-
I
what-
mean, so
what-
so
what-
don't think of
but-
AT&T. You
No,
have
no,
to
but
think
Karen,
outside.
InContact is a carrier with applications.
Yes.
And where are they going to make more money today or tomorrow? They're not going to make money on the transport services. They're going to make more money on the application.
Of course,
I
it's the
disagree
solution.
with you on that. I think we're going to see coming down the pike a lot more bandwidth caps, a lot more usage, because carriers are built on a per minute, per something. It's back to our legacy businesses, okay?
Yeah, I know. But
What do we see? What do we see on site?
I like the minutes have gone down
Yeah,
globally, man.
but-
They just moved from carrier to carrier to carrier.
Mike, I'm going to disagree with you. You're wrong.
I may be wrong.
okay,
But
so,
look at
so
the
my
carriers.
concern is we become more and more dependent on cloud-based carriers.
When
And
you
we
say
all know
we,
that they-
who?
all of us, because it's what we're selling, right, Jeremy?
No, yeah.
So the deal is that as we become more and more dependent, and we recognize that these guys' reliability sucks, and then somebody comes up and says, we suck less, that's not a good marketing slogan.
That's
been Telecom for 20 years.
That was teed up too anyway.
Those carriers that suck less are gonna die.
No.
It wouldn't be competitive Telecom if the original group did.
So the outlook of our children is probably not Verizon and AT&T. It's probably going to be Google, Microsoft, and
It's
Apple.
gonna be somebody that's more nimble, somebody that's not entrenched in tradition, and somebody who's more of a visionary. That's where I think some of the niche players are gonna be more impactful for us. That's why why we went from, having, 10 carriers to having 45, because those niche carriers really add a lot of unique value, and they're good at what they do. They focus on one or two things, and they do it very well, and it can be layered on with other applications and services, and it helps, it's the solution. It's not a one-stop shop for it all. It's a bundled solution of a lot of different things from a lot of different places that are gonna enhance a customer's experience.
So,
But did
Or
it
until
bother
they
you
get
that
bought out,
GoDaddy
or
went
until
down
they
for
go
a day?
bankrupt.
so look,
Yeah, well.
Bankruptcy is just a wealth management tool, sir.
so
I'm
look,
trying not to
if
think
you,
about that. I'm trying
big
to focus on the
companies like-
positive.
The
Like,
big
if you
companies
keep
buy them,
coming-
they take the program away, and then there you sit with nothing.
so you keep coming
That's
back.
never happened, sir.
Don't talk crazy.
So you keep coming back to,
Don't.
they're gonna die. So let's go down the numbers, okay? Forrester says 15% of the channel is gonna die because of cloud. Gartner says it's gonna be 40%. My company puts a number at 60%, but I'm more realistic about it. I don't actually think you're gonna die. I actually think that you're gonna be
Just have a
reduced.
win.
Precisely, it's gonna be reduction down to an arbitrage labor pool that's gonna have low value. The problem is, and, okay, I'm gonna say it. The problem is that the majority of the channel does not understand that they have no value. As long as they make
I think
money.
I'm gonna cry.
But I hate to tell you something,
Oh.
but
You have seen
nothing
it.
is going to change.
Finish
It's
your
all
thought. Finish your
commodity
thought.
crap.
Let me hear the rest of his thought.
All of it. There's 1,000 VoIP providers in the US, there's about 100 CRM guys, and no one can differentiate them.
Oh,
So everybody
didn't you say that 20
transaction
minutes ago?
can
Yes.
keep going and going, here's your
Yes, but
five,
we
here's your
weren't
five,
listening
here's
to
your
you.
five,
So
and
they're
they'll
dying
be.
because of cloud, they're dying because they can't raise the level of the conversation.
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Again, back to the dead chicken.
Look, look, everything we're talking about here, and I have this conversation 3 times a day. The top 10% will always self-identify. We always know who the top 10 are. It's there's another 10% of the channel that is worth fighting over. That's it. The problem is, whatever we're calling them now, whether they're suppliers, vendors, manufacturers, carriers, whatever they are, we cannot readily identify the next 10%. And that's the challenge for the industry, because everyone in this room has potential. There's only a select few that actually would have the will and are applying themselves in a way that they are actually going to make it on that potential.
To your point, where I'll validate you is, we've definitely diversified a lot of different revenue streams and taken on a lot of different practices and a lot of different fields that were foreign to us 5 years ago. So that would validate your point that we have to have multiple revenue streams. We have a mobility practice, we have a partner resource management tool, we have a cloud education process, right? But before you sigh,
I'm not going to say, I'm just going to disagree with you.
I don't have that.
No, I understand what you have.
You actually
I'm
just
looking-
suck, just so you know, that's what you think.
Because, I mean, we've had a record year this year, we had a record year last year, we've been in business for 21 years, we've been adding employees consistently for the last 5, easy.
It's like a TBI commercial.
Right, well, I didn't say my name, so it's not a commercial.
really.
Oh, you
Not
didn't say it.
really. Most masters can say pretty much the same thing. They've all grown, they've all added stuff,
Then-
blah, blah.
Right. We've
But the
diversified
carriers
our
are still
revenue
bitching.
stream.
Yesterday at the Channel
Where's
Team
the-
Summit,
where-
they were like, we want
Ours
VARs.
make good
They
agents if you
no,
take
they
the time to train them. No, they do, they actually do. I like, well, if you don't like them, send them to me. And
They don't-
I like guys that buy servers. I think servers and VMware,
It's not the same
VARs
stuff, though.
are going to make great agents if we take the time to train them.
Right, I agree.
Peter, why not?
Because VARs, here's two big differences.
No,
The
no,
VARs
no.
right now have like Cisco, Microsoft, HP, who have never snaked a deal from them ever. They get in this industry snaking deals every day. They've never had anybody ever blow up their commission. That happens in our industry every day.
Yeah,
The
because-
VARs, when they get in this
Well,
industry,
I have my own theory about why
frightened.
that happens, but we don't
Yeah.
want to get into that here.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to change.
You
I
have to
mean,
teach
they're-
them.
Look, you know, I believe that
They
the
can still
future,
sell
like,
boxes.
there's
Forever.
this
Yeah,
future
but there's no-
Nevada, there's a future Nevada that's like Galapagos. Is that we go to Galapagos and we see these strange
The turtles?
animals. Yeah, exactly. We see these strange animals that have like these really contrarian features and habits that we don't see anywhere else in the wild because they're isolated. I think though is that somewhere in the future, in the very near future, there's going to be a mashup of different elements, vendor, distributor, consultant, services, that is going to create this new entity that none of us are expecting. That's going to come at us sideways and is going to disrupt a whole lot of businesses because they're not going to think of themselves in a legacy context. They're not going to think of themselves as telecom or IT.
I believe that.
Yeah, and they are going to come in and they're going to eat your lunch.
They're gonna be cloud agents.
They're not going to be cloud agents. They're
They're
going to
gonna
be
be,
sarcastic.
they're gonna be holistic solution providers. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
exactly.
gonna,
Yeah,
like,
something-
truly,
yeah,
I mean, it's
that's
kind
a
of
very
a
generic way of saying
right,
it, but yeah.
but that's really what they're gonna be. And you made a point earlier that the telecom people, traditional people right now, we don't have the insight or the ability to be able, once we get past, once we're in our little, once we get past our simulator education, we don't know what to do with it. I think that that's where we rely on the relationships that we have with our carriers, and we're able to, okay, I identify that this is a really good opportunity, but now I have the education at least to know that I can go to this vendor for this solution, this person for this solution, and I pull in the expertise from all the different relationships I have to help be that one-stop shop. It's not me, it's the relationships that I know and the relationships that I have. So that's why we're adding new vendors and we're adding new areas, because we want to be the liaison of putting it all together. We want to be the baker. We're taking all the ingredients to help. I'm so excited about our industry.
But no, there's a lot to be excited over. But you know, there is going to be a lot of pain.
Of course.
And even on the IT side is going through the same pains. And it even goes up, no one is insulated from this. If you even go to the highest ranks of the IT industry, you can see the disruption and the confusion and the major IT companies, HP, Dell, Intel. I mean, these are bedrock companies. Cisco, I don't care what anyone says, Cisco is still, Cisco says they turned the ship, they're still trying to figure it out.
Of course.
And it's because it's the pace of this is happening so fast. No one is insulated. I do not believe we truly know what the end result is going to be.
I know, but I'm willing to take the ride because
Oh, it's gonna be a hell of a ride.
I think it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to still be a very profitable ride. As somebody that sits in front of end user, customers, CEOs several times a week, they're asking these questions. And just like you mentioned, Peter, the point is being that, being that person they come to say, hey, what is this question? How do I handle this? There's a lot of profit in that. Quite frankly, yeah, okay, so say telecom itself, the word telecom is dead. It doesn't matter. 1990s, we were still excited about long distance. Then local came out in 1996. Then integrated T1 came out. The CLEX led the way, they integrated with that. Now
And we used our VCRs.
exactly, but now it's 2012, all right?
I'm just saying, the technology's gone, it's gone to the cloud, and we're all using it, and it's making us more efficient.
I miss my 8
And
tracks.
that's the thing. And that,
And we all have all of our music on iTunes.
No, I don't.
Don't you rebel.
I don't own an Apple product.
You
That's fine with
rebel.
me. And with that, we really need to kind of wrap this up. Would you please join me in thanking our
Yay.
Good job, guys.